Welcome, dear souls who are on a journey to find meaning. Perhaps more than once, we've looked back at the path we've walked, at the ups and downs of the last 10 years, and realized a surprising truth. The things we once thought were complex and difficult now seem incredibly simple. The truth is, life's most profound lessons don't come from lofty knowledge, but from the painful experiences, from the times we've stumbled and gotten back up. We take 10 years to realize a simple truth, not because it's so hard, but because we are too busy with the assumptions, desires, and fears that we ourselves have created. Stoic philosophy doesn't promise an easy path, but it provides an inner compass to help us realize these simple truths sooner. In these moments, we will explore 5 simple things that we take decades to realize. 5 Stoic lessons to help us reclaim our peace and live more fully. The first thing we take 10 years to realize is that happiness doesn't come from having everything. Most of us live in the illusion that if we just get a better job, a bigger house, a more perfect relationship, we will be happy. We spend our youth chasing external goals, believing it is the only path to fulfillment. Real-life example. A person spends a decade building their career, working tirelessly to achieve status and wealth. They achieve everything society considers successful. But then, standing at the peak, they feel empty, lonely, and insecure. They realize that the anxiety of holding on to what they have is greater than the joy of achieving it. They have everything, but they do not have happiness. Philosophical analysis. Stoic philosophy teaches that true happiness, eudaimonia, is not a result of external things, but a state of mind created from within. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said, "The richest person is the one who wants the least." Indulging desires does not bring happiness. It only creates a bottomless pit of dissatisfaction. The simple thing we take 10 years to realize is, happiness is not a destination, but a journey. It's not about what you get, but about how you feel and appreciate what you already have. When you shift your focus from chasing external perfection to cultivating inner peace, you will find a source of happiness that is sustainable and cannot be taken away. The second thing we take 10 years to realize is that everything is impermanent. In life, we tend to cling to everything: a relationship, a stable job, good health, or even the beauty of youth. We build our lives on a foundation of permanence, and when things change, we feel like our world is falling apart. Real-life example. A person places their entire self-worth in a relationship. When the relationship ends, they are plunged into pain and despair, unable to get back on their feet. They feel that life is unfair because they believe that love was eternal. Clinging to something impermanent has become their greatest burden. They take years to realize that the pain doesn't come from the relationship ending, but from resisting change. Philosophical analysis. Stoic philosophy placed contemplation of death and impermanence, memento mori, as an important practice. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor-philosopher, wrote, "Do everything as if it were the last thing you will do in your life." Memento mori is not morbid or pessimistic, but a powerful reminder to live more fully in every moment, because we know that nothing is permanent. The simple thing we take 10 years to realize is, life is not a still river, but a constant flow. To find peace, we must learn to let go. Letting go is not giving up, but freeing ourselves from the chains of attachment. When you accept impermanence, you will no longer fear loss, and you will find true freedom. The third thing we take 10 years to realize is that we cannot control other people. Most of us spend a lot of energy trying to change others, to make them act the way we want, to make them love and respect us in the way we expect. When all our efforts are in vain, we feel disappointed and angry, and we create unnecessary burdens for ourselves. Real-life example. A person spends years trying to change their partner, to make them better and more responsible. They use words, sulking, or sacrifice to manipulate them. But all their efforts fail. The relationship becomes tense and filled with resentment. In the end, they realize that the powerlessness doesn't come from the other person, but from their own stubbornness in trying to control something that is beyond their reach. Philosophical analysis. Stoic philosophy laid the foundation for self-mastery by pointing out the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught, "We have the ability to master our thoughts, actions, and desires. Everything else is not up to us. The words and behavior of others are among the things that are not within your control." The simple thing we take 10 years to realize is, peace doesn't come from others changing, but from you accepting them as they are. When you let go of the need to control others, you will have enough energy to focus on the only thing you can control: your reaction, how you love, and how you live. Freedom doesn't come from controlling everything, but from mastering yourself. The fourth thing we take 10 years to realize is that your worth doesn't come from others' opinions. In a world that values recognition and praise, it's easy to build our self-worth on a very fragile foundation. We feel euphoric when we are praised, but we fall apart when we are criticized. We hand over the key to our happiness to others, allowing them to determine our value. Real-life example. A person spends their youth chasing fame and recognition on social media. They feel happy when they have many followers and receive many compliments. But when they receive a single criticism, they fall into a state of depression and insecurity. They take many years to realize that external validation is just a temporary gift. True worth cannot be built on such a fragile foundation. Philosophical analysis. Stoic philosophy teaches that virtue is the only thing that has intrinsic worth and cannot be taken away. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, wrote, "You are a small soul carrying a corpse. Your worth does not lie in the recognition of others, but in your own integrity, courage, wisdom, and temperance." The simple thing we take 10 years to realize is, your true worth comes from living a meaningful, virtuous life. When you focus on becoming a better person, you will no longer need external validation. Peace doesn't come from what others think of you, but from knowing that you have lived true to your nature. That is absolute freedom. The last thing we take 10 years to realize is that life is much simpler than you imagine. Most of our suffering doesn't come from actual events, but from the complex thoughts and meaningless worries that we create in our own minds. We spend too much time worrying about things that haven't happened yet, analyzing problems that don't exist, and creating unnecessary burdens for ourselves. Real-life example, a person spends years worrying about the future. Will I have enough money? Will I find a good job? Will I get married? They live in a hypothetical future filled with fear, unable to enjoy the happy moments in the present. After many years, they realize that very few of the things they worried about actually happened. Their greatest suffering didn't come from life, but from their own mind. Philosophical analysis. Stoic philosophy teaches that inner peace comes from calming desires and complex thoughts. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Life has very simple rules. Live virtuously, do the best you can, and accept what you cannot change. The simple thing we take 10 years to realize is, the key to escaping suffering is right within your grasp. It is not a secret, but a conscious choice to let go of complex thoughts. When you live a simple life, you will find peace. Simplicity here is not poverty, but freedom from the burdens of the mind. Dear friends, these lessons are not profound. They are simple truths that we have forgotten. Life is a long journey, but understanding can come in this very moment if we are still enough to listen. Remember, you didn't take 10 years to realize these things. You went through 10 years of experiences to be mature enough to receive them. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Where will you begin your journey to create a meaningful life? Will you accept impermanence? Let go of control, master your thoughts, or live a simple life? Share your reflections and feelings in the comments below. Thank you for joining us. May you always find peace and profound tranquility within your soul, mastering your own destiny through mental self-control.